Hello and welcome to today's episode of the live stream, all about the book that predicted the future of coin magic. Let's get into it with our guys here. This is Jeff and Rick. How we doing, guys?
Hey crowd. How's it going?
Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Today we're talking about a very interesting book. Maybe some might say a little bit little known kind of a book that you want to show it to them? Go ahead and show it to them.
Just happen to have a copy right here. This is my copy.
Let's see if we can see it up close. Unexplainable Acts by Mr. Gary Kurtz.
Written by Copeland.
Where's my copy? About Mr. Gary Kurtz.
This man right here, the legend. Yes.
So we are very excited to talk about this book because this is what would you say, a very interesting read that, something very pivotal for coin magicians, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we'll say up front, it's not all coin magic for sure, but there's a lot of card magic that has coin magic handling. I would say there's some palming, there's some cards disappearing, reappearing, translocation type effects, which in my mind is just kind of dolled up coin magic with cards.
Which is interesting because we've talked a little bit about that before, is this idea of utilizing what we know in coin magic and applying it to different parts of magic. And so this is a book that we were able to get our hands on, and we have a special offer for if you purchase this book from our site. We'll tell you about that at the end here. But before we get into that, I just want to talk a little bit about the book, why it would be interested, people be interested to see it. So let's talk about Gary Kurtz. Like, who is Gary Kurtz and what's up with Gary Kurtz?
Rick, do you want to start or you want me to go?
Well, I first heard about Gary Kurtz. I forget the year, but it was in the early 2000s. I was on the Magic Cafe, and I was getting comfortable in coin magic, and I remember asking this question. Where can I find reference material or sources for? I want 3 coins to appear, and I want a coins across, and then I want to vanish those coins. And it was actually Curtis Cam who responded to me, and then he actually went a step further, and through private messages, he ended up mailing me from Hawaii a Xeroxed copy of I forget the notes now, but it wasn't Trio, which you'll find in this book here.
Sure isn't.
But that was my first taste of Gary Kurtz material, and I was like,
mind blown.
I've never seen like this type of work before. And then I heard of the routine Trio, which was like, the description fit exactly what that was my like holy grail coin effect. And then I bought this book because of that routine Trio. But I discovered, like Jeff said, it's not all coin magic in here. And there's a number of other tricks in here that, quickly became some of my favorite tricks. And I guess we'll touch on that in a minute. But how did you learn about Gary Kurtz?
Well, honestly, I really got in. The reason I bought this book, Rick, is because of you. I guess via Curtis Cam, via Rick Holcomb. You were the one that mentioned to me about Trio, and somehow this had escaped me. And I will tell people all day long, there's a lot of material I don't know. I'm influenced by everything. I talk a lot about Bobos. JB Bobo has influenced me a lot. David Roth, of course. A lot of my own just kind of fiddling with things, and I love to create my own moves. If you've seen Treasure or Rialme and some of my work out there, same thing with Rick. A lot of guys create their own moves, but I got introduced to Gary because Rick was telling me about Trio. I was like, how do I not know this exact routine? So I picked up the copy of the book, and I just want to say it's just some fantastic stuff in here, and it's not a super long book. It's about 100 pages hardbound, and you see, so it's not super thick. You can get through this in a good weekend. You can get through the material and And I want to say, like, it's not because it's brief that it's discounting it, that you can get a lot of information. You can advance your magic like just really quick. And so I guess the question was, who's Gary Kurtz? Gary Kurtz is a Canadian magician to this day, I understand. If you're out there watching Gary, I want to talk to you. I've reached out to him multiple times. And I'm just a fan of this early work of his. I'm probably a fan of his later work too. Gary Kurtz has worn many hats. The book, the introduction here, Kaufman talks about how he was a dance choreographer. He's a dancer. He's a poet. He's a bit of an all-around artist. And to this day, he is a practicing mentalist up in Quebec. And so Gary's worn many hats, and he's inspired many of us guys. And so what I think of Gary Kurtz, I'll just go ahead and lay it out there, is we talk about the father of modern coin magic, David Roth. If you guys, you can go back and watch our live stream where we dedicate, about this time, maybe June last year, where we dedicated an entire live stream to David Roth and just the foundational work. But when I think of the new modern coin magic, and that's a term it's been used several places. It's been used with JB Bobo, but like as far as the new modern coin magic, the kind of stuff that you see with Copeland Coins, that you see Rick and I performing and our other artists, where it's like stand up, parlor style. You can be in a living room, but all of a sudden the magic is stand up. It's not seated at the table so much. It's out chest height. Very good. Rick has got there. The coins across the visual, the covered angles moving around, where we've created this more theater type space in a small space. Gary Kurtz. That's my argument right there. I would love to be more than happy to be corrected, but I think Gary Kurtz is the father of new modern coin magic. And I think Trio, like we talked about, is a perfect example of somebody that how he set the tone.
I love that. I love that, because we talk about how can we take these little things that are usually in this plane where you're looking down and convert them to this plane where it can play with and knowing our angles and things like that. So this is fantastic. What were you going to say, Rick?
I just thought of, like, if you love Kainoa Harbottle's work, and specifically the Misbehaving routine, or Table Hoppers Quattro, if you study Trio, you will see a lot of these moves like Kainoa has incorporated into his work. Like, he often does that appearance of a coin, like within a fan of coins, or he'll do this production of a coin out here on his fingertips like this. That's called the edge grip squeeze. That's from Gary Kurtz. And there's another a popular changeover method where you're getting coins from one hand to another in a secret way. That comes from Gary Kurtz as well. It uses frickle palm.
Frickle palm.
And, I won't go into it. But if you love Kainoa's work, even Curtis Cam, you can see where they've been studying and the origins of a lot of their material, not all of their material, but
yeah, those guys are original as well. We don't want to discredit that, but
of course, yeah,
but
absolutely. It's really interesting because you mentioned it a little offhandedly, Jeff, but the way that I know Gary Kurtz is through misdirection and choreography, because he's kind of touted as like, this is the guy to learn misdirection from. And so when you mentioned that he was involved in dance, it's like, oh, now the dots are starting to connect, because it's like having to move and understand your body weight, the kind of things that you've talked about on the live stream before, Jeff, is how you turn in position really can help with the naturalness and with the fooling people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked with Scott Robinson last month for about 15-20 minutes, I think, on this very topic. And Scott was talking about how important it is and the things he learned over his years of performance. And as he's now admittedly an underground legend of sorts, like how he was talking about how important it is. And you can see that in Kurtz's early work. And so if you check out a video of him performing, or you read here in the book, you'll get some of the subtle stuff. And Kurtz talks about that. He talks about that in the preface of the book, is that, you need to be aware of how things are going on. And Kurtz, he's kind of a comical performer. He talks a lot of tongue in cheek. He's kind of sarcastic. And so and that's kind of offbeat comedy. And but he uses that, and I think that happens to some of us guys. I think when we're performing technical magic and like just really good sleight of hand, you just it's so fooling when your sleight of hand is so clean and people have no idea. Because I mean, Kurtz is doing some edge grip, he's doing nowhere palm, he's doing some work that back in the 80s when he's performing this. The book is written, I think, in 1990, so he's polishing this stuff through the 80s. Guys, this is unheard of, right? There's no kids on YouTube or Instagram like showing all these crazy handling and stuff like that. I mean, Kurtz is showing empty barehanded palms, frying people coast to coast around the world with these displays and these transfers that are being developed by Roth and Latta. You know, then and Kurtz definitely credits them. You know, he credits the other authors that have been in previous Kaufman books. You know, this is part of the Kaufman legacy here, where you've got the Coin Magic and the David Roth, and we talk about those books all the time. We talk about David Roth's Coin Magic. We talk about David Roth's book and Coin Magic, and the Kaufman books on Coin Magic. And Kaufman, the editor of Genie magazine, I don't know how much he's performing this day, but he was quite the consummate coin magician. And so he is publishing this stuff in the 80s and the 90s, and he's gobbling it up and putting it in print. And lucky for us, this book right now is available. It's available at copelandcoins.com. I believe our cover is orange, the one that we've got up on the photograph. But this book, the exact printing, it's a newer edition, is available. And so, yeah, it's just amazing. This stuff is documented for you guys to go out and see the foundations of where we're going. And it's important to know your history.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's get into a couple of the things in the book. Some of you mentioned a couple of you guys favorite routines from the book. We were talking a little bit about it earlier. Is there any particular one we want to talk about real quick? Something really cool people can look forward to.
Rick, go.
Well, the very first routine in the book, hypothetical possibilities, is for a long time, that was my favorite card trick. Imagine being able to visually show time travel. So a card is selected, and then it's signed by the person, and then it ends up like in your jacket. I think he uses a Himber wallet or something.
Okay.
And then you go back in time to, well, before you signed this card, it looked just like this. And then the signature disappears. And then it's an awesome, like, twist your mind kind of card trick. And then there's a number of items in here that they're not coin tricks or card tricks, really. Like, he uses blank pieces of card stock, I guess. One's called Inside Outside, where you write the words inside and outside on these two pieces of paper. Then you staple them. And then all of a sudden, it's like it becomes reversed. So like the outside is now on the inside. And there's another one with blank card stock.
Like Robert Neal-esque, kind of, like those weird puzzles.
Yeah. The other one's called Mirror Image, where like the revelation happens, like you have to carry around a tiny mirror, like you might find in a makeup kit or whatever. But like, yeah, there's some cool close-up magic in here that you can not only study the coin stuff, but you'll have all these other cool items that, some of this stuff is for parlor, but there's a lot of really good like close-up magic items in here, and those are just a few of my favorites.
That's awesome. And somebody here mentioned Joel here. Good to see you, Joel. Mentioned trio, which I know is an important part. He said his two comments. He says the only part he doesn't like is the dingle steel. But trio. We wanted to touch on that one too, didn't we, Jeff or Rick?
Yeah. I'll come back. We'll save trio for last, but I'll go over a couple of my favorite routines in the book.
Yeah.
And first off, I kind of alluded to it before. Interchange it's a 4-card transposition, and I believe though he teaches it. I was just trying to catch. I think it's like 2s and queens, And so he has like very contrasting cards. He's got some like just simple spot cards and then some base cards. And the idea is that the 4 cards change places. And it's kind of, I think Guy Hollingworth had some work on some of this kind of stuff with 4 cards jump into pocket. Vernon had to work on this trick. These are brother John Hammond's Underground Transposition, I believe, is the basis for this. And just the idea is cards jumping. And this is a very good parlor style. And to me, like, again, like I say, maybe I'm biased, maybe I'm overthinking, but this is a coin magic trick, or this is any kind of transposition. It doesn't have to be done with playing cards. It just, playing cards suit this trick very well. I think it would, there's definitely card moves involved. I don't think this handling would work with coins, but the concepts of holding out, magic wand principle, the concepts of thinking about how to use your body language and turns and showing things deceptively, hands deceptively empty, that's a lot of stuff that will help your coin magic. And it doesn't matter if you're performing with coins or cards or bottle caps or whatever you got on hand, what we've seen from previous live stream, cookies or candy or Starburst. These concepts all build confidence. And so reading the work of a master like Gary Kurtz and being able to pick up a copy of a book like this will make you stronger. And again, it's not a hard read. These tricks, most of them are 5-6 pages each. They're not like super heavy. It's not a super heavy read. They are going to take some practice. I'm not going to lie with that, but understanding the principle and how to make multiple phase routines, like some of the ones Rick just talked about, like interchange. And then the final other trick before we get to trio, because I'm going to say that there is one of his headlining tricks, and it's a reputation maker, and it's called Flurious. And I'm a big fan of Flurious. Gary's spent a lot of years honing this. And the reason being is because this was the kind of work when I was performing and doing my one-man show that I loved the best. It is stage manipulation done up close. And so Gary's got some very just clever handling of large coins, jumbo coins, which again, it could be anything. It could be CDs, if those are still in style, if anybody still has those. It could be dinner plates. It could be coasters or beer mats if you're over in the UK. It could be anything like that. And the concept is that he's doing this stuff up close. And that really, it's really, I guess it's just mind-numbing to people to see that kind of stuff and to see manipulation. And even if it's not like so magical, because it is something that is presented as skillful, like it's amazing to see that kind of skill up close, if that makes sense. And so people can appreciate the practice, the work, the sweat equity put into something like that to create such beautiful illusions. And so that's all I'm going to say on Flurious. I have a lot more things to say about it, but it's definitely it's kind of groundbreaking type stuff, and I like performing that kind of stuff, and I know that big reason I like is the feedback from the audience. They appreciate the work.
I think what's really cool about this too is that of all the things that both of you have said about the book so far, and I had a little mention of misdirection too. It's like you can see that there's so much in this book to apply to all of whatever magic you're doing, from stand-up material to close-up material to skillful presentation type material to magical stuff, things with coins, things not with coins. There's so many different things in this book. And that's, one of the main reasons we want to recommend this, is because it's such a useful resource,
Yeah. I would pay money to see this live, and I would, I'd be floored. I would, this is like, it's real world material that has been thought out and polished and performed before magicians, before lay people, and it's approved by both audiences.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. So I think the last thing we wanted to mention is, like you said, a little thought on trio, one of the massive routines in the book, and then massive meaning like known routines, well known in a good way. And then I'm going to show the little offer that we have where people can pick this book up. So you want to talk about trio a little bit?
Rick, you got some thoughts?
Yeah, just that, like I mentioned earlier on, that is the reason I bought this book, because, at the time, probably still now, I searched on YouTube for, you know, just anyone performing it, so I could hopefully see like what does this look like. And you know, I just heard about the routine, so the only way I could get it was to buy the book, and it has become for me like a lifelong study. And I now have my own version of it, which doesn't use extra special something involved. And I continue to play with the idea, the general concept of coins appearing, they disappear, they come back one by one, they go across, and then they vanish one by one. It's like, in a lot of ways, kind of the only coin routine you need. If you had to choose one thing you were gonna do, like this kind of has it all, and you kind of don't have to finish the whole routine. You could do just the middle section of it, the coins across part, or you could just do the first part and like make coins appear and then make them vanish. So it's kind of like, it's something you could study, and you're gonna get a mini crash course on like hardcore coin magic. So
Yeah.
that routine in itself it's worth the price of the whole book, I think, because
Yeah.
it's
And
given me a
it might
lifelong
be half the book.
study.
I'm not sure. It's it is probably the
It's
longest.
not that long.
Yeah. And by the way, it's called Trio because the use of the audience sees 3 coins, and that's the reason it's called Trio. There's 5 parts. There's 5 different sections, and so it is like Rick said. You could break it apart. You could use certain things, and like Rick has said, he's got his own version of it. And I think that most people that study this routine, when they get in that kind of realize, hey, this fits here and this fits there, and it might get you to start thinking about how to build your own routines. And that's the beauty, you know, when you get to sit down with a book, right? Is you get to kind of pick and choose. This is for me. It's a slower paced study, and that's why books are new to Copeland Coins. We're starting out this year with Gary Kurtz, and we think this is a really strong place to start because the book has so much good information that you can slowly process and work through at your own pace. It can sit on the coffee table. It can sit on the nightstand. And you can pick up, you know, one trick at a time. There's no rush. It's at your own speed. So yeah, Trio is definitely a good spot to get creative on. And I mean, Kaufman says it best, and that's what I was looking for. I knew I'd read it in here just preparing for today. He says, "For those who love the real work with coins, this is it."
Enough said, right? Wow. That's awesome. Well, we you know, like Jeff said, we, you know, always are trying to recommend good books, and thinking about the best books that we could talk about on the live stream. We're constantly getting feedback that like, this is so great. We love talking about the books as well. And so we're excited to be able to offer books on the Copeland website. And so I'm going to go ahead and paste that link here in the chat. This is where you can pick the book up. And the special offer that we have is that when you pick the book up from us, we have an additional PDF that has Jeff's favorite like hidden gems that he's dissected and talked a little bit about, maybe some different applications for them and some reasons why these apply to your magic in other ways, and why they're important. So it's kind of like having Jeff over your shoulder a little bit and helping him kind of point, oh, check this out, don't forget about this. And so we want to just include that for anybody that purchases the book from our website. That is included automatically. So
absolutely,
that is where you get that. So go to copelandcoins.com, check that out. And I think that's about it for today, right, guys? Is there anything else we want to say?
I think if I go any more
It's
in
worth
depth, I'm going to be teaching the routines out of the book next. And I unfortunately, we have to sell it to you. We can't just teach them here to you today. But that's the great thing is you'll own it. You have a copy of it for your library. So
it'll be amazing. It's a great book, and it's definitely something that we are excited for you to get your hands on. So go check it out right now. copelandcoins.com, the Gary Kurtz Unexplainable Acts book. Get it now, and we will see you very soon. Have a good week.
Hey guys, make beautiful magic.